evening, everyone, again. And thank you so much for being such a patient and such a nice audience. Thank you, Kajol, for joining us. First of all, we're very excited. You can sense the room. We're all very, very excited for this. I thought about how should I start the conversation. This is a business conference. Should I ask her a business question, et cetera, et cetera? But then I thought, if you and I think of her, what is the first thing that comes to mind? It's DDLJ. And I know बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं कि DDLJ emotion है, favorite movie है, हमने बहुत बार देखी है. But there's something that I have observed, and it's the wedding season. The wedding fever is on. So 30 years it's been. Recently, a statue was unveiled in London, 30 years of DDLJ. It's something which has been a part of everyone's life. किसी का शादी attend करा है तो someone must have recreated that iconic green outfit. The groom must have danced on that song, right? So it is that emotion that we have all had. For someone who did that role as a 20-year-old something, now 3 decades later, about three decades later, how does that make you feel? How does that make you rethink about this heavy word we very casually use, legacy?
I'll say this again because I keep saying it. I don't know how to thank people enough, really. Because when we started the film, all we wanted was to make a good film, to make a hit film. All we wanted at that point of time was for it to do well, reasonably well, and for it to just run, and for it to still be remembered, become iconic, and become the longest-running film in the world was something that we could never have prepared for, or anticipated, or for that matter, even thought about, or even wished for. If you had asked us what we could wish the film to be, I don't think any of us could have verbalized what the film became. So I'd say that I say thank you to all those people who have made it a part of their families, a part of their tradition, a part of, I've met people who've said that, "Arey, humne picture dekhi thi, we fell in love watching DDLJ, and now we have kids, and now their kids have kids." I mean, like, that's really old. But like I said, it's something that we have. I mean, I don't think that we anticipated or even could have anticipated exactly what the film would become.
I think, that's a very true feeling. Very, very rightly said. Thank you for that. When we look at your work, your growth as an actor, your rise, the rise in your career, it also coincided with India's liberalization in the 90s, right? So as we often put it, India was finding its confident voice at that time. Do you think characters such as Simran, Anjali, or as a matter of fact, Mandira in My Name is Khan, do they reflected sort of the emotional evolution of a more confident India?
I think India has been trying, Indian women, I would say, Indian cinema, women have been trying to speak forever. We've been trying forever. We've had so many movies even before DDLJ, for that matter, before a Simran or a Mandira or a whoever came along. You had so many iconic films from a Mother India today, from a Mother India to Main Chup Nahi Rahungi, to so many films. So I think, and some of the most iconic films, in fact, have been where women have been very, very strong characters. I think that's one of the greatest things about our film industry, that where you've had films that have done well or have been very, very well appreciated, the women characters have been really, really strong and have spoken up. So yes, I think Simran is the people who liked Simran, I think, were too shy to come up to me and tell me that Simran was somebody that they believed in. I think Anjali at that point of time was somebody that a lot of people associated with. So I have a lot more people coming up to me and telling me that, oh my God, Anjali was exactly like me at that point of time. So yes, but she was more of the burn the bra till she started wearing the sari. That's another conversation for another time though. But yeah, and then you had Mandira later, and you had you know, Tribhanga coming through, and now of course you have Ma, whatever. But I'm saying that I'm saying that the society has changed, women around have changed, and I think we went from yelling and screaming to, I think now it's about quietly finding your power. It's not about yelling and screaming. It's about standing in your power and acknowledging the fact that you have this power and that you deserve it.
A quick show of hands. How many of you have seen the movie Gupt? Wow. Okay. So, you know, at a time when actors were sort of expected to fit a frame, you did this unexpected role and even won the Best Villain award, if I'm not wrong, for that.
I was super happy about that. I don't think anybody else has won it after that. It was honestly, it was something that, you know, I was just like, oh my God, what a cool twist. And I loved the script. And I think I said I'd do the film in the first narration itself. So I think Rajiv was just really, really sweet. He was a cool guy. He came home, narrated the film to me, and we had a great time making the film. And I think it just, like I said, went on. You know, we did all these things, we made all these decisions, and we had fun doing it. And I didn't look back to see what it could become or what it should become, honestly. We didn't take the decision from that standpoint, but yeah.
Does that you know, that ability or that thought process of actually gravitating towards risk, not by choice, but coincidentally, has that maintained? Have you always been open to any idea what may come, even today when you make your content choices?
Definitely, no two ways about it. I think as an actor, because I mean you've done so many films and you've done, you know, you've done all different kinds of films. I've run around the trees also. I've done the 6 scenes in the film also and the 7 songs, and I've done films that have been based on me, and I've done titular roles. I've done the twin thing. So I mean, it's you know you have a huge big battery of films that you have done, and you have to find something different every time. You have to find something new in it, otherwise it'll get too boring, and I don't want to be, I don't want to come on a set ever and be bored. I don't want that to happen to me.
Another important development in your career has been your work with OTT. Yeah. Now, you started OTT with the trial, right? Now, sorry? But in all honesty, when the idea came, were you a little apprehensive? Because as someone who has spent so much of time and who has seen the evolution of cinema overall, were you apprehensive about doing an OTT?
I would say that I didn't want it to be, my first OTT was Tribhanga. And I didn't want it to be whatever I did. I always wanted to have a certain quality. I wanted to have something to back it up. It had to have a certain gravitas. It had to say something. And of course, most important of all, I had to be like 300% interested in it and love it completely. And that's exactly what Tribhanga was. So no, it didn't matter to me that it was on OTT, for that matter. So it was more about the script. It was more about what it was saying, all of it put together.
How does that point of view change when we come to NY cinemas? You're also, you know, you and Ajay are also the business owners on that. You're right. Investing into the cinema ecosystem, the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Now, would you want all of us to watch a new movie launched on OTT? Or
See, I want them to watch it everywhere. I want them to watch it first in the cinemas, and then I want them to go back and watch it on OTT as well. Yeah, I want them to watch it everywhere. I think going to the cinemas was at one point of time the only form of entertainment, but not anymore. And OTT is here to stay. OTT is definitely here to stay. You know, we can't get around that fact. But I think cinemas are and will always be a part of our culture. It'll be a part of, it's an experience. And we have to look at it as an experience. And that's exactly what NY Cinemas is doing today. We are definitely looking at, you know, expanding and of course, getting more cinemas, etc. But I think more it's about making it an entire experience. It's not only about, you know, you're just going to sit there. No, it's about everything put together.
In your boardroom conversations about NY Cinemas, does the concern on the future of cinema chains, considering how aggressive OTT is, and like you said, it's not going anywhere, does that conversation ever come up?
Of course it does. It does. But like I said, I mean, we're concentrating on, you know, putting up a different experience, the right location. It's a lot of things put together. So there are a lot of critical viewpoints that we have to look at in, you know, it's like an overview of the whole picture, which has to be looked at. And it's not only about one thing. So I think it's not only about the movie. It's about a lot more than that. So, yeah.
Beyond NY Cinemas, we see, you know, celebrities considering entrepreneurship as a serious business today. When are you launching a brand? what category, you know, will see a brand?
I'd love to launch a brand, but I think, again, like, I mean, everybody at this table probably knows, launching a brand is, or I think it is difficult. And it is definitely, it has, you know, it has a lot of, you have to take into consideration a lot of things. So right now, yes, if I had to launch a brand, it would probably be along the lines of something to do with wellness, maybe, or, you know, something to do with kids. I haven't really thought about it that much, but I do know for a fact that I see all the startups happening in India, and I'm looking at, you know, all the brands, and kudos to all of those people who have started up in the last 5-7 years and made a name for themselves, because it's been a difficult 5-7 years. Yeah, and but they're thriving, they're up and about, and it's amazing to see how many we have today.
Beyond launching your own brand, you spoke about startups. If you had to associate with a brand today, you know, what sort of category or what nature of brands attract you? Also the scale. Is it, are you interested to work with a startup, maybe as an advisor, an investor, a brand ambassador, or legacy brands whom you have been the face for so long? Do you plan to continue those associationships?
Well, I definitely plan to continue, you know, being the face of the brands that I have today. And I think that's really what you know, like I said it also before, I've been working since I was 16 years old. People have watched me since I was 16 years old. I have grown up, grown thin, become fat, become pregnant, had my kids, got married. I mean, like, my whole entire life has been, you know, recorded and in front of everybody. So I've tripped, I've fallen numerous times, you know, physically and mentally stumbled as well. And it's just been an entire journey. And my whole journey, I would like to say, has been pretty honest. And so I think that's coming back to the brand part of it. I think brands are about, I assume that when I am the face of a brand, there is a certain reliability to it. There is a certain responsibility that I have as well, as a star, to say that if I endorse something, that I have vetted it out, I have checked it out, and I have made sure that I'm not short-selling anybody, you know. So I think there is that responsibility that I have to take into account, and it's a big responsibility. It's not something that, you know, I will gloss over or just do on a whim and say that, oh, you know, okay, hey, you look nice today. No, okay, let me endorse that. No, it will not be that. So I will think about it. And yes, I would love to work with, I would love to work with startups. I have actually spoken to quite a few people, etc. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, would you like to invest with us and, startups, etc. I haven't taken that decision because I am cautious. I am cautious. I wouldn't like to put my name somewhere where I didn't think that it would have a certain, like I said, I take my responsibility seriously. I wouldn't want somebody to buy into something if I put my name on it and it doesn't have the truth behind it.
Honestly, it's very it's so heartening to hear that, the kind of responsibility which you spoke not just once but actually multiple times. The responsibility that comes with when your name is associated with a brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that when people look at you as a brand, they're not only looking at you as a brand. I mean, today I know for a fact that, everybody's sitting here and, hey guys, hello over there. But yes, when you speak of me or when somebody sees me endorsing something, they're not only seeing the brand, they're also seeing me along with it. So yes, that is part of the deal.
Can you give us a peek into what becomes a red flag in a conversation like this? When there's an association conversation going on with a brand. Personally, for you, what is that one red flag, even if it has ticked all the boxes, that this is a non-negotiable for me, I won't do it?
I think I'm very clear that one of the things that I will only do things that I think are good for me. So I will not endorse probably something that I feel is unhealthy or in any which way, like, something that doesn't work for me personally. So that is a red flag for me.
A big problem statement for all the brands that we've been talking to since morning today has been solving and building for Gen Zs. Now, you have two Gen Zs at home. I'm sure they roll their eyes at you quite frequently, that's just what they do. If you had to give an advice from as a mother, as an actor, as someone who works with Gen Zs in your team also, you have a lot of Gen Zs. If there's any advice you would give to brand owners today that this is one metric or this is one thing Gen Z ko jeetna hai, to you need to solve for this.
First of all, stop trying to push the Gen Z anywhere because they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere that you tell them to go, honestly. वो कहीं नहीं जा रहे हैं. उनको जो जहाँ पे जाना है, उनका रास्ता उनके सामने बहुत क्लियर है और आप उनको कुछ फोर्स करा के ये नहीं कह सकते कि आपको ये करना ही होगा और आपको ये करना चाहिए और आप अगर नहीं करोगे तो ये हो जाएगा or whatever. So I think like I said before, truth works. I think they are very, very smart, very, very much smarter than we were at their age, much more well-informed than we were at their age, and they see better. They can see through all the bullshit. So you're not going to tell them that you're not going to lie to them and make it work because it's not going to work. You can't tell them that, Bhagwan ke liye ye kar do, wo to nahi hone wala hai. So you have to tell them some kind of a story that makes sense to them. And it has to have truth behind it. It has to have something that catches their eye and makes them understand that there is something solid behind it.
Excellent. I think very honest. Thank you so much for that. Just one final question, Kajol. We speak of Naya India today. We are on the path to become the third largest economy of the world. Now, we've been talking about the exports from India, the brands going global. One of the biggest soft export has been cinema, right? Our stories have traveled far, far earlier than we all did. As someone who has been in the system for over 3 decades now, what would be your message to the next generation of creators, next generation of actors, next generation of brand builders on how to take the India story global?
That's a little bit of a confusing question actually, right now, because I think everybody's confused. Kya karna chahiye hame? That's the big question. Everybody wants to know, what should we do? Everybody is waiting for somebody to say that, oh, this is the path. We should follow this storytelling, or we should follow that storytelling. But I think that what is coming forward for India will be about standing in our individuality, not trying to copy anyone else, not following anyone else's path. Most importantly, stories of India, from India, about India, and rooted in the thing that makes us great, which is our culture, our color, all of what we associate with our roots, I think, is what will work for cinema in the future.
Beautiful. I think that perfectly aligns with the theme of the Great India Retail Summit as well, from India to the world. Thank you so much, Kajol, for joining us, for being so candid, and for making your time. What a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
That we have one of your biggest fans here on stage in Pallavi's form. So Pallavi, I have a question for you. If I was to ask you, which of Kajol's movie is your favorite? I know it's difficult to pick one, but which is your favorite? Which one would that be?
It has to be DDLJ, always and forever.
So you're the Simran.
Of course.
A romantic at heart. I'd also like to share with all of you that for those fans who are here with us, if you answer the next few questions, we are going to send you a gift right away. So let's see how well they know you, how much they've been following your characters. There's a lot of excitement. If you know the right answer, just raise your hand. We'll have someone send across a mic. What was the name of the character that Kajol played in My Name is Khan? Can I see a raise of hands? Let's have it for the gentleman right there in the T-shirt. Let's be real quick. Okay. Let's be... Mandra is the right answer. A round of applause for him. My colleague will just send a gift to you. Okay, this time it's going to be a little bit tough. Okay, all of us know that when, she had her first innings on Netflix, it was a very exciting phase. Anyone who can tell us the name of the film which she screened in, the first film on Netflix? Yes, please. I'm going to give it to the gentleman here in the blue T-shirt, blue shirt. Yes, sir. Tribanga it is. Absolutely right. Let's hear a round of applause. I'm going to get it. Okay, one more final question. Let's see who's getting the gift. This one is very easy, and I think, Pallavi, while you would know the answer, I'm not giving you any gifts for this. So when did DDLJ release? Which year? How many years has it completed? I don't think there should be any gifts for that one, right? Okay.
Too many people and too many gifts?
Absolutely. Okay, so no gifts for that, but may I request all of you to please put your hands together as I have the pleasure of thanking you, Kajol, and to appreciate your presence.